This year, the tide for Ukraine on the battlefield may finally have turned. I'm going to unpack how that's happened, looking at three key areas: Starlink, drones, and a battle-winning tool you've probably never heard of. In each month of 2026 so far, Ukraine has liberated more territory than it has lost and taken more Russian troops off the battlefield than Moscow is able to recruit. It's always difficult to draw an exact line, but this is where it is, according to the Institute for the Study of War. Let's look at some key areas. After grinding through the Donbass town of Pokrovsk late last year, the Russian effort switched to the south. They pushed hard at the point where Zaporizhia and Dnipropetrovsk oblasts meet. Get through here, and they could have swung a giant left hook into Ukraine's fortress belt cities. There were fierce battles in places like Ternivat, where the Russians had got through Ukrainian lines. Ukrainian troops managed to push them back and actually regain some lost ground as the Russians lost all coordination. Eventually the Ukrainian defence held, and what's more, they were able to force the Russians out of the city of Kupiansk in the north, presenting another headache for Moscow as there were no fresh troops able to counterattack. So, how have they achieved it? The pendulum of war swung in Ukraine's favour in February. That was when Elon Musk decided to deny Russian forces access to his satellite-based internet service, known as Starlink. It left almost 90% of Russian units without a connection. They couldn't talk to each other, coordinate attacks, or effectively exercise command. To see what impact it's having, I went to a secret command centre of a unit of Ukraine's military intelligence, the HUR. There, I spoke to two commanders. We've hidden their identities and only used their call signs, Kuzma and Tagat.
They have like Wi-Fi bridges, some other stuff to have connections. It's harder to them, but with no Starlink, it's not end.
Here we destroyed a lot of Russians lately, and with the Starlink ban, they almost stopped completely.
To make up for the loss of Starlink, Tagat says the Russians are trying to build Wi-Fi bridges, similar to the hotspots you or I might use on our mobile phones. But Ukrainian drone pilots can spot newly erected antennas or Russian signalers climbing up towers to install additional radio dishes. Unfortunately for Moscow, Starlink can work through foliage, but the Russian replacement has to have an uninterrupted view of the sky. The second reason why Ukraine has pushed back the enemy is drones. Ukraine currently produces 4 million annually and aims to increase that to 7 million by the end of this year. Ukrainian military chiefs, with figures that are deemed accurate by Western officials, say they bring down between 1,000 and 2,000 Russian drones a day. That's just in the air. Land and sea drones are also proving hugely effective. It's not just about the numbers though, it's also about how they use them. And for the first time in history, a Ukrainian sea drone, acting as a mothership, successfully launched an interceptor that brought down a Russian Shahed attack drone. The West is in danger of being left behind by such advances in technology. Both sides now use aerial drones controlled by fibre optic cable, meaning there is a physical, unjammable link between the drone and the pilot. They are consequently much more effective and much more deadly. Let's hear from Tagat again.
It became hell, like no safe place, no logistics. Every armored vehicle is getting down, and it was like terrible for us. But we made through.
I went to another hidden location where I met a team of engineers who spoke about procuring, producing and personalising drones. The engineer told me that nowadays basic drones have become so pervasive and normal, soldiers give them no more thought than the bullets they load into their rifles. That standard drone, that's like the workhorse of the fibre optic controlled first person view kamikaze drone. How much would that cost?
It will be $1,000, 700 or something.
Okay. And then the fibre optic cabling, how much?
Yeah, it goes together.
Oh, it goes together, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have the military. The military would then adapt it with the explosive.
But explosive separate. Explosive you got from.
You can't get that off
No.
eBay. And
No, we can't.
this little room didn't look like much, but places like this found across the country are key. They allow adjustments to be made quickly by highly skilled engineers who have direct links into the units. If you see an opportunity, if you say, we could do this, or this drone could be modified to do that, do you then push that forward and suggest that to the front line and they say yes or no, or are you able to do that, or are you just receiving ideas?
No, it depends on your interest and your laziness, so it's not a problem. Everyone in this line is interested in making drone better. Everyone has its own expertise. So.
Everyone has heard about drone warfare, but there's another key Ukrainian weapon you might know less about. It's an online system called Delta.
Developed in Ukraine, proven in combat, Delta is Ukraine's digital advantage, and it's driving us toward victory.
While we weren't allowed to film it, we saw Ukraine's battlefield management and command tool in action. It fuses data from countless sources. For the Ukrainian military, it's the big brain. On one layer, it shows electronic maps with symbology depicting Russian and Ukrainian positions. Hover a cursor over a symbol on one of the screens and a new window automatically opens, showing the recorded video feed of the drone that ended the Russian soldier's life. The system takes in multiple data feeds, collating and synthesizing information from myriad sources. Data is shared at light speed, so the coordinates of an enemy position can be distributed to the most capable and available effector, i.e. a weapon system, as soon as it's spotted. It then presents the results in a clear and digestible format for humans. In short, Delta is the digital spine around which the ecosystem of Ukraine's military capability is now built, and Russia knows it. You individually, as soldiers, you have an access code to be able to access Delta.
Yes.
And you're saying that Russians are using Ukrainian prisoners of war and getting their Delta codes such that they can have access?
Yes, but these codes changed very fast if something wrong. Okay, it's even if you sit in a computer, it's 8 hours. Yes, 12 hours, and then it's quite automatically. So you should have a new code and new access.
The weak point now for Ukraine is the paucity of carbon-based life forms to sit behind the Delta terminals or produce the ammunition that the big brain demands. There is evidence that Ukraine is starting to turn the tide in this war. If they had the military capability to feed Delta's capacity, Putin would be in real trouble.